DeepSeek just released a physics simulation model that runs circles around what OpenAI and Google have been building, and almost nobody's talking about it. I'm Mark, and today we're breaking down what actually happened, why it matters way more than the headline sounds, and what this means for the AI race in 2025. Let's start with the straight story. Last month, DeepSeek, the Chinese AI lab that shocked everyone with their reasoning model, dropped something called DS, which stands for Differentiable Interaction Simulation. On the surface, it sounds niche. Physics engines. Who cares, right? Except this thing can predict how objects behave in the real world with accuracy that makes older models look like they're guessing. Here's the concrete part. DeepSeek's model predicted complex multi-body interactions. Think dominoes falling, cloth folding, liquids splashing, with error rates up to 40% lower than existing systems. And it did it faster. Way faster. We're talking about a model that can simulate a 10-second physics sequence in milliseconds instead of seconds. That's not just an incremental win. That's a different category of performance. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but who actually needs that? Why should I care? And that's where the story gets interesting, because this isn't about physics homework. This is about something much bigger, embodied AI. Right now, when you ask ChatGPT or Claude to help you design something, understand how a machine works, or predict what happens when you change a variable in the real world, the model is basically guessing. It has never actually seen objects move. It has never felt friction or gravity or momentum. It's trained on text and images, but it has no intuitive model of physics baked into its brain. It's like asking someone who's only read descriptions of water to predict how waves work. DeepSeek's physics engine changes that. If you integrate a model that actually understands physics into a reasoning system, suddenly you get an AI that can help engineers simulate designs before they build them. You get an AI that can help scientists predict how molecules will interact. You get an AI that understands cause and effect in the physical world, not just in language. OpenAI and Google have been working on this too. OpenAI has Sora, their video generation model, which requires some physics understanding. Google has been investing heavily in embodied AI through their robotics division. But here's what DeepSeek did differently. They focused on accuracy and speed over flashiness. They didn't build a model to generate pretty videos. They built a model to predict what actually happens. And that's harder. That's more useful. The reason this broke everything is timing. We're at this weird inflection point where AI companies are starting to realize that the next frontier isn't just language or images. It's understanding the physical world. And whoever nails that first gets a huge advantage. DeepSeek just showed they're serious about it. Let me be clear about what this doesn't mean. This doesn't mean DeepSeek is suddenly winning the AI race across the board. OpenAI still has GPT-4, which is better at general reasoning and instruction following. Google still has better data pipelines and computing resources. But in this specific domain, physics simulation, DeepSeek moved the needle in a way that caught everyone off guard. Why did it surprise people? Because DeepSeek is operating on a smaller budget than OpenAI or Google. They don't have the same computing resources. They're not backed by a trillion-dollar tech company. And yet they're making breakthroughs in areas where you'd expect the well-funded labs to be ahead. That's the part that matters. It suggests that raw compute isn't everything. Sometimes it's the approach. Sometimes it's focus. So what does this mean for you, the person watching this? A few things. First, if you're a developer or engineer, this is worth paying attention to. In the next 6 months, you're probably going to see DeepSeek's physics model integrated into design tools, simulation software, and robotics platforms. It'll make those tools faster and more accurate. Second, if you care about the AI race and where these companies are actually headed, this is a signal. DeepSeek is proving they can innovate in specialized domains. They're not just copying what OpenAI does. They're finding gaps and filling them with better solutions. That matters for the competitive landscape. Third, and this is the bigger picture, this is evidence that we're moving into an era where AI systems need to understand multiple modalities: language, vision, and now physics. The companies that can integrate all three will have systems that actually reason about the world, not just pattern match on text. That's the frontier. Now, there's one thing I want to address because it's the elephant in the room. DeepSeek is a Chinese company, and there's geopolitical stuff around that. I'm not going to pretend that doesn't matter, because it does. But from a pure technical standpoint, what they've built is impressive, and it's worth understanding regardless of where it came from. Science and engineering are global. Good ideas come from everywhere. Looking ahead, watch for three things. 1. How fast does this get integrated into existing tools? If it shows up in CAD software or robotics platforms within the next few months, that's a sign it's genuinely useful and not just a research paper flex. 2. Does OpenAI or Google respond with their own physics models? If they do, we'll see an acceleration in this area. 3. Does DeepSeek use this as a foundation for something bigger? Physics understanding is a building block. The next step is embodied reasoning, AI that can actually plan and execute tasks in the physical world. The reason I'm telling you all this is because the AI narrative you see in the mainstream media is usually about 6 months behind what's actually happening in research labs. Everyone's obsessing over which chatbot is smarter, but the real action is in these specialized models. DeepSeek just proved that, and it's worth understanding. If you want to actually keep up with what's happening in AI without the hype and without waiting for the mainstream media to catch up, subscribe. I break down one of these developments every few days, and this stuff matters if you want to understand where technology is actually headed. Thanks for watching.